This is WTOP's Ari Ash. I'm in front of 810 12th Street Northeast on the west side of the street, just by 8th Street actually. 810 12th Street Northeast. In fact, I don't know if you can see this in the background. I'll try and zoom. But that is 810 12th Street Northeast right there. So the ticket was written by DPW Officer Q. Wheeler. Ticket number 813-545452. 813-545452 for P303, a residential disability space, front of 810 12th Street, northeast, west side, meaning in front of this red brick house. Folks who live here have been here for decades. And in fact, the car is parked in the exact same spot that the ticket writer took photographs of on the day of the ticket. They always park in this spot. It's a residential neighborhood, as you see, so you can't park in this neighborhood without the residential parking permit. So this is actually the car itself that was ticketed, and it's again in the exact same spot it was parked at on the date of the ticket from DPW Officer Q. Wheeler. So the first thing I wanted to show you is the signs over here. It's really confusing on this block, and I get why the officer made a mistake, but he did make a mistake after looking closely at it. So as you look at these signs, it says to the right of this sign, you have to have a disability placard to be able to park there. And as you'll see to the right of the sign, this vehicle does in fact have a disability placard. To the left of the sign, all you need is a Zone 6 residential permit parking sticker. You can't, general public can't park here. Only residents of this area with an RPP sticker, but if you do have a legitimate RPP sticker, you can park here. Now, this resident does have a valid RPP sticker. So in this spot, you can park as long as you have an RPP. That spot is not disability restricted, and as you'll see right here, this is the RPP 6 placard. Now, here's the sign that's confusing. This is the sign that the officer took a picture of, and unfortunately in TicPix, since they have not fully upgraded to the new smartphones, the pictures are not as clear as they should be. This is the sign that the Officer Wheeler of DPW alleged that the driver violated, that they parked in a handicap spot, P303 residential disability space. Again, as you see here, this sign says now to the left of this pole, you can't park unless you're disabled. So here, this Jeep here can't park without a legitimate handicap placard. And I don't see one, so that driver may be in trouble. In fact, this sign right here will also show you that this spot right here, where this Jeep is, you have to have a handicap placard. But again, walking back to the sign over here, very clearly, this sign, which is the sign that the ticket writer is referring to when it says front of 810 12th Street Northeast West Side in the ticket itself, which again, 810 being this red home over here, sign clearly shows that to the left you have to have a disability placard for this one spot between that pole and this pole. But to the right over here, this spot is allowed to be used by anyone with a valid Zone 6 RPP sticker, as this driver does have. Now the thing I want to do is I want to see when I get a second if I can back up, or at least maybe I'll tilt myself a little bit here. Down there you have a restaurant, just for informational sake, called Cuspa. It is a South Asian spice bar, just for geographical locations. And then the key thing you want to look at when we review this ticket, and DPW hopefully reviewing this ticket, is, as you can see in these fairly unclear TicPix, what you can see among all the sort of not clearness of these pictures is that the far sign in the picture, in fact, again, as I said, I think these two cars were exactly in the same spots when this ticket was written. You see the driver who was ticketed, and then a Jeep-like SUV just like this one in front of it, and beyond that Jeep-like SUV, some pole with two signs on it, which would correspond to that far sign to the left there in front of the tree. And in fact, in the TicPix, you can see a tree right behind the sign itself that has two placards in it in the far background. So I'm fairly convinced that that sign down there, which indicates that to the right of it is a handicap spot, is the sign in one of the TicPix. Then the second TicPix, which again is the one in front of the sign of the house, 810 12th Street Northeast, is a pole with one sign on it, and what looks like an A or some sort of symbol in the middle of it, but it only has one sign on it. So, and then the car that was ticketed, the one literally I'm standing right next to, is right next to that pole. And really the only sign on this street that I see that has one sign on it is in fact this sign that says reserved parking handicap special permit 6-64, which I assume is this Jeep person since it's the same car in both tickets, and the arrow's pointing to the left of the sign towards the Jeep. It's not pointing to the right of the sign to this car, so this car clearly is in a valid spot with a Zone 6 RPP sticker. It does not need a handicap placard. Let me walk back again to the sign that covers this spot where the car is parked. Again, here's the car that was ticketed. These two cars were literally in the exact same spots when the ticket was written. The two poles down there, the one closest to the box-shaped Jeep is the one that the TicPix took a picture of in the foreground, and then the one down in the background past the more conventional modern Jeep SUV with the two signs on it is the one that was in the background with the tree behind it. The sign that covers this space says, to the right of this sign, that person needs a handicap placard. To the left of this sign, in front of 810 12th Street, you can park there as long as you have a Zone 6 residential parking permit RPP. Not general public, just residential RPP. So I'm fairly convinced that the ticket written to this driver by DPW officer Q. Wheeler was in fact wrong. Hopefully DPW will examine this, agree, and waive the ticket.